Welcome to Unsheltered Conversations, the podcast from HomeAid America, where we explore the partnerships, the people, and the purpose driving solutions to homelessness across the country. I'm Scott Larson, CEO of HomeAid America. Today's episode takes us to Austin, Texas, and to one of the most inspiring and innovative communities in the country, Community First Village, created by Mobile Loaves Fishes. Recently, HomeAid had the opportunity to celebrate the ribbon cutting of two beautiful micro homes built by Toll Brothers in partnership with HomeAid Austin. These homes represent more than just shelter. They represent dignity, stability, and the opportunity for someone to begin again. HomeAid Austin has helped build nearly 50 homes within this incredible community over the years, and the latest project reflects both the continued commitment of our affiliate and the extraordinary leadership of a national builder partner like Toll Brothers. Joining me today are two people who make that help all possible. Lynne Williams, Executive Director of HomeAid Austin, and Brandon Cooper from Toll Brothers. Lynne and Brandon, welcome, and I'm glad you both are here.
Thank you, Scott. It's nice
Great
to be here.
Thanks, Scott. So Lynne, let's start with you telling our listeners what is so special about Community First Village. I know that I've seen it and had the opportunity to tour the campus or tour the community when we held our HomeAid Leadership Conference there in Austin a few years ago. But can you tell our listeners what is so special about Community First Village?
Thank you. You said it when you switched from campus to community, and I think that's what really defines what this space is about. The campus is actually a community. There are people there living in little neighborhoods. There's a sense of belonging. And I don't think I've seen that at a lot of other places where, there's just been a shelter situation. These people have a home. When I walk into Community First Village, that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm home now. And I know you haven't seen it in a while, but things have changed a lot. And Brandon can tell you about that. But, they went from the 450 houses to moving to the 50 acres across the street now. And there's 700 more going up over there. So it's like you took one side and moved most of it to the other and made it bigger and better. So that to me is what makes it really a special place to visit, that it's neighbors, it's not residents. There's people who call themselves the mayor. They have a little community and it's just a sense of belonging. They have their own little subdivision there. It's like their little neighborhood. So it's just like bringing everyone together and having that sense of belonging I think that's what makes it really special.
And there's a lot of other things that are there. I mean, there's opportunities to learn and I recall gardens and
Yeah.
places for people to learn a new job skill. Can you describe a little bit of that you've seen in the community?
Yeah, exactly. There is a saying by Alan Graham, who started Community First Village and Mobile Loaves Fishes. He says that people experiencing homelessness run into that situation because they're a catastrophic loss of family. So that's what community first means. It's community first. And not only having a place to live, but having a place to earn a dignified income. They have entrepreneurial studio that's there where artists that are amazing who live at the village create art. They're able to sell that art. There's people who make pottery. There's people that draw paintings. And also there's a jewelry making section. So they have an online store. So they're able to capitalize on that even further. And, they can have their stuff sold online. Actually, a local jeweler here, everybody knows her name. I think Kendra Scott makes beautiful pieces, and she has the people at Community First Village help her in that, and they actually can earn a living producing the jewelry there on their site in the store. And then there is the garden. Every Saturday, they have a fresh food market where people who live on the property in the village can go and buy fresh food, but they can also work in the garden. They have chickens, they have a big garden. HomeAid recently donated greenhouse with the help of some other people who helped us buy it. It's right in the middle there now, and you can see it. People who have some mobility issues that maybe can't get offsite can actually work in the garden and work in the greenhouse, and they're able to earn a dignified living there. So there's a store there. There used to be a mechanic shop that they're going to be reopening soon. It's just more than that. It is a little community where people can earn that dignified living.
And I think that's the key word. It's a community versus a traditional shelter or transitional housing, which we need in the communities, but it really is special. So for those that aren't familiar with those terms, how does it differ length of stay compared to a traditional shelter or transitional housing?
Yeah, so community first village is permanent. It's permanent housing, and I would consider it permanent supportive housing because on site they have a doctor's office, they have a bus line that runs through there. They even have a hair salon where you could go get your hair done, but it's permanent. When they pass away at their home at Community First Village, and there's an internment celebration, and they have a spot on the property where they'll be able to stay forever. So it really is their forever home. It really shows the level of commitment that they've given into putting this piece together, this piece of wonderness that's happening, or goodness, as they call it out there. A lot of times, if somebody's homeless passes away, they don't have anywhere to go. No one claims them, and they just go into some mass cemetery somewhere. But at least at Community First Village, they know that they will always have a home there, no matter what stage of life they're at.
That is really special. How long has HomeAid Austin been involved with Community First Village?
HomeAid Austin started in 2018, and I think we built our first house in 2020. Since then, like you said, we built almost, close to 50 or 40 something houses out there with the help of our partners like Toll Brothers and other production builders and custom home builders in the area. We even have engineering firms now that want to get involved and partner with a builder to like build a home out there. So it's really successful. We've been building out there since about 2020, and we built so many dream homes for people. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, so as it really is a community. It's a master
Yeah.
plan community and where people are living.
And the people who live in the houses, Scott, they might not be ready to live into a house yet. Community First actually houses stipulating that the people who come to live there are chronically homeless. So some of them have been on the streets for 9 years or more. So they're not used to living in a home. But what I love about the way they've designed things out there, which is another thing that makes them special, is one of the houses, for example, that Toll Brothers just built has this screened in porch. And, if they're still not comfortable in their home, they can actually sleep on the porch if they feel comfortable doing that, but they still have a home that they're in. So a lot of that kind of stuff happens. There's actually one resident out there who still refuses a home and has a tent. So he still lives in his tent, but he still has a home at Community First Village. So
Wow, there's so many layers and so many conversations that we could go down. So when, HomeAid Austin was only a few years old when you first got involved, how did you mobilize the builders, the donors and the volunteers? Because this is something new and unique. How did you get people involved?
in the beginning, we used to hold builder recruitment events, and we'd go actually out to the village, and they have a big unity hall where we could come and bring food and, show people around and give tours. But it really sells itself now. It has gotten to the point now where people are actually calling me and saying, "Hey, can I build something at Community First Village?" And I'm like, "Sure, there's 700 homes we need to build. So come on over." We have builder recruitment events during kind of the downtime between the two phases. We used to host webinars, and we would invite people to a webinar, and we'd have the Community First Village folks on there, and we'd have us, and we'd have builders come on who have had experience. Really, we just bring people out there because really, when you see what's happening out there, you're done. You're kind of like, okay, I'm done. I want to build something. So it's a pretty easy sell, actually, which is really nice. It's a really nice way to have people be like, oh, I just want to build out here.
So the culture when someone arrives and goes out there must be something very unique and very positive for someone to be so enthusiastic.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people, as soon as they pull in, they'll see people milling around. They'll see the different color, brightly designed houses, the different style of houses. They also run a community inn, INN, where they have little micro homes in the front that are rented on Airbnb, actually. And you can actually stay there if you're in town. Another way that they can earn a dignified living out there. People actually run and help and clean, and do all the stuff that you would if you had an Airbnb, for yourself. It's just you could see the Unity Hall, you can just see a sense of belonging. Like I said, when I drive in there, I just feel like, okay, I'm in like a little different planet. I'm in a little different area, and it's just very cool to see all the people who are friends, and they have a little golf cart they call the Gus Bus, and it rides around and it brings people to different spots at the village. So yeah, it's a lot of goodness, and that's their thing. That is what they pride their campus on in the village that they've created. Is it's bringing goodness, and that's what you feel when you get in there. You just see a lot of goodness, and it really pulls at people's heartstrings. So Brandon, you can talk about that too. I think,
So nearly 50 homes, a true legacy, more to be built.
yeah,
These micro homes are, it's not just the size, it's really what they represent.
yeah,
It's permanence, it's belonging
Yeah.
and a fresh start.
Yeah, it's a lot about dignity too. They can have a dignified place to live. They can have a dignified income, a dignified place where they have an address and can get mail. When people come to Community First Village as well, they get the dignity of choice. They get to pick their own house out. So they'll go around to different spots and they'll get shown the house and where they are and what it looks like and what colors they are. So they also get that dignity of choice where they can pick their own home, which is a huge thing, I think, as part of their program.
Yeah, that really is. So, Brandon, let's fold you into the conversation. I had the privilege of just seeing online the photos of the ribbon cutting and of the two most recent micro homes that Toll Brothers built. And it was really meaningful for me to see since I've been there on the campus. But can you tell us how Toll Brothers and you specifically got involved with this project?
Yeah, actually, it was from one of the HomeAid builder recruitment events in probably late 2020. So I think we missed the first year, but we quickly jumped on board in 2021, and we finished our fourth and fifth home most recently. And it was really really interesting coming out of COVID. Things in at the end of 2021 are starting to loosen up a little bit in Austin, and we were really looking for something to get involved with, something to be able to get back, but also something to do with our team building, that sort of thing. Looking for a project, and got invited to the builder recruitment event, and again toured Community First Village with one of our leaders here in Austin. And instantly during that event, we knew this was something we needed to get involved in. A great project, great charity, and would just be fulfilling for our team. So we're on board.
Yeah, and because Toll Brothers is involved with so many different things, not only with HomeAid, but other things around the country. How did this align with that broader commitment to community and philanthropy and just the overall culture within Toll?
You know what? I feel since our inception, right? For the start of Toll Brothers, and especially during my time here, Toll's just been committed to giving back to the community, especially in the areas that we live, work, supporting the different philanthropic, endeavors in those communities. It's an integral part of Bob Toll's legacy. Really, our founder, Bob Toll, and it's reflected in our company's core values. We take care of one another and we do the right thing. And I think as we go throughout our day, whether it's making a decision for a homeowner or how to handle a contractor or getting involved in charity, those are things that we live by. And so it makes decisions like this easy to get involved where it's going to matter at. There's many ways we give back, from volunteering to donating to local causes to partnering with a national organization like HomeAid and the missions they support and we support. One of the most meaningful benefits that I think Toll offers, and our team here locally absolutely takes advantage of it in a great way, is service days. Every employee with Toll Brothers gets this one service day a year the company sponsors to go out and donate their time. And those are just different ways that the company supports what we do, and it makes it easy for employees to get involved. And to go back a little bit to us getting involved, it's a story that I love sharing, and I'd be remiss if I didn't include it. The building community here in Austin's huge. Me personally, I got involved with the board through a friend of mine who's a counterpart with Taylor Morrison. Her name's April Whitaker. And in 2021, I think she was the president of the board. And there was a board seat that became open, and she reached out to me. And to be honest, Scott, looking at the growing division we have, a growing family that I had at the time, I didn't really know if I was going to have time. I felt like we were doing enough with a tiny home and some other things. In respect to April, I told her I'd give it the weekend, think about it, and get back with her. I tell this story all the time, and it's embarrassing personally for me. But my family and I, we had an event in Austin that weekend, and my wife and I, my daughters, we were driving down to downtown Austin, and we were talking about it. We were talking about the opportunity. We were talking about HomeAid. We were talking about homelessness and just what's around us, right? And we get to where we were going, we park, and it really struck me. And I had to take a step back that for a decade plus of me living in Austin, being in downtown, homelessness was an inconvenience for me. It was white noise. It was something that was in my way going from where I was at to where I was going in downtown Austin. And in that moment, looking around me, you see it. And I knew I had to make a difference. I knew I had to get involved. I had my answer. I think there was a calling. There's a reason that April called me. There's a reason that we were going downtown, and we've never looked back. And I'm so proud of what we've done. And being supported by Lynne and Toll and everything else. So
You're right. You've got so many different layers to that. It's personal, it's corporate, it's community, it's family, and you had that defining moment. And I feel honored to just even hear that story. And yeah, I'm sure Lynn does as well, because the outreach from someone like April,
mhm.
a competitor, a colleague who believes in the mission. And that's what the beauty is so much about this home building industry that we're a part of, is that yes, you've got so many people that are building homes for a living, building communities, but this is that added touch. This is that added purpose that takes all of what you've done with your career
Yeah.
and all of what you've done within the company and makes it very personal. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you shared that. It took April's call and that moment with your family, and your life was changed. And now in turn, there are people that are being housed because of that. That is the bottom line, what it's all about. So thank you.
Absolutely. And that's the most important part to me, right? Like my life has changed definitely. My family's life has changed, but it's the people we help. That's the lives, the meaningful change that we're making here.
Yeah. Plus, I just want to comment that, now, like, he's a cool dad because he brought his daughter out to Community First Village and we were touring, and I got the opportunity to tell her what a cool dad she had. And just to see the look on her face when we were touring, and I was kind of like peeking around, like looking at her from the background, and she was very impressed. And you don't always get that moment, but now, Brandon, you're the cool dad too, because you're doing stuff like this, which is a really cool moment when we were out there doing that. So thanks for sharing your family with me that day, because I was watching her and she was like, "That's cool. Ooh, look at that." And it was pretty impressive to watch. So that was another cool dad moment. Put that hat on too.
Yeah. No, and it's great, to introduce them to the giving back, especially at that early age. If she wants to pursue a career in home building and to see that not only could you go out and have a successful career in it, but you can also have a second career in giving back and help people. It's like you said, Scott, it really changed our lives. Even something as simple as a few weeks ago, we had an ice day in Austin. And of course, we're getting things done around our home. We're cleaning out closets and everything. 2 or 3, 4 years ago, we would have said, "Okay, like, who can we sell this stuff to? Who like, do we throw it away?" But immediately, our kids come out and they're like, "Hey, we've got something for Miss Kim. We need to drop it off for HomeAid. Can they use this? Can they use that?" And it's a different mindset. It's
Yes.
contagious, and it's great.
Yeah, it's really outwardly focused, and it really is about legacy and that type of an impact. And I have daughters as well, and it's been exciting to see their eyes be opened up to service in ways that if I wasn't involved with HomeAid doing what I do, they would have a lens of community work, but not like the lens that they have now. With the two homes that were recently the ribbon cutting and dedicated, what makes those micro homes functional? I mean, like, not to delve into too much detail, architecture, et cetera. But what, as you saw those homes being built, what makes them special to you and to the residents?
Lynn hit the nail on the head. I mean, of course, they have shelter. It's things we take for granted, right? It's shelter, it's electricity, it's air conditioning, microwaves, refrigerators. But I think the things that make them different and functional is the covered porch, right? To be a part of the community, to have a separate living space, and for it to be your own space. I think that's huge. It could just be a dwelling unit for people. It's not. It's a home. That's what makes it a home. And then there's not one that looks the same. They're all different. They're all different colors. They're all different shapes. They have different features. It really creates a uniqueness within a community that I think people identify with. And those to me make it pretty neat and special.
Yeah. So your team obviously has gotten involved. It's not just you. You've got people on your team ranging from probably a superintendent to people in the office, your trades, your suppliers. What was some of their takeaways and what made this experience great for them?
We've got some extremely talented people on our team. We work with some extremely talented vendors and subcontractor partners. I think them being able to go out and utilize those talents to help people. So often the charities that we get involved with, sure you can donate time, sure you can donate money or treasures, but this gives you that opportunity to donate your talents, and I think that means a lot. We do a lot of special things with Toll Brothers and what we do as our core business. We do a great job of building people's wants and dreams, but this gives us an avenue to build their needs. And I think they all take that to heart and take a lot of pride in what they do.
Golf tournaments are great. And many nonprofits do golf tournaments and you go out and play golf and you raise money. But this is different. You're out there actually doing the work and seeing whether or not you're a designer or a trade, a supplier, or the superintendent. I was just at a homemade dedication last week and talking to the superintendent of that project, and actually he's talking to his wife. And she said this project has changed his life. I mean, he's built homes. That's what he does for a living. But that project changed his life. And that's what is so special for me. And Lynn, I know for you, we provide these opportunities
Yeah.
for life-changing experiences for people in the building industry.
Yeah, exactly. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. I know the Toll brothers, Briston, who has been our superintendent for a while out there, and every time he's just like, "Oh, it's just so cool. It's just so cool." And he's just so into it. It's really, really impactful.
Yeah, because and I've said this before, and this comes from Larry Webb, who's been an industry icon based in Southern California. But he would always say that home building is a noble profession. And so, Brandon, what you and your team do in building dreams and building communities, that truly is a noble thing. But what HomeAid gets to do is just to double down on that and to create just that additional sense of changing an individual's life that otherwise would never have had a home or have that opportunity. So, Lynn, from your end, as you saw these come together, what was it like? What was it like to go out to the site? And these two homes were built in a relatively short period of time. It was kind of a blitz build.
It is the fastest build we've had on record so far. So yeah, sometimes when we do these projects, it takes, just a little bit more time. People are like, "Oh, it's a little bit of a community project and we'll get our framer out there we need and everything." So with this one, it was amazing. The slabs when we got there already poured. So it's a pretty, easy build for builders. I don't really understand why it takes them so long. And now we have reasons to tell everyone, listen, it shouldn't take you that long because Toll Brothers did too in 30 days, 28 days. What was it?
It
Was
was, it was
the
31
time?
days. Briston's goal was
31
30
days.
days. And he was pretty disappointed. He came in at 31. But his goal next time is to do it in 29, so it averages out.
And one of the things I love is when I first go out and see like, oh, the framing's done. And then I get to go out and go, oh, look, the siding wrap is on. And, oh, look, the roof is on. And finally it's like, oh, the paint is done. And it's so cute. And actually went out there the other day. And when we do the dedication to see the whole thing come together and to show that, like, go out there with the trades, and Brandon and his team are proud and they bring all the people out there and they're just really excited to see the final product and to just know that one day when I walk by, I'm going to see someone living in there. So it goes from nothing to someone actually living in the home. And not always do we get to meet the people who move in, especially at Community First Village. But then sometimes I get to see the people like going about their business or planting something in the front. So to see it go from like sticks to someone actually doing like everyday chores is pretty amazing to see it. So yeah, it's really impressive when I get to go back and see. And Brandon, I went back the other day for something and I could still see the little ribbons we tied on the posts. They're still there. So I was like, oh, there's our little ribbons are still out there. So it's really cool to see. And especially in something of this size, the size of this community is humongous. It's on 50 acres on both sides. So over 100 acres. And to go through the little homes and to go, drive around the village and see like, oh, we did that one. Oh, we did that one over there. And Toll Brothers did that one last year. And this is a Taylor Morrison home. And then to see people just like going about their lives, living in the village, it's really a cool feeling. It's just, yeah, that's why I always feel like, I think when I get out there, I feel like, oh, I can feel like home now because it's like, I know that we've created this home for people. So it's really cool to see the progress.
That really is powerful. And you've created a home and it's going to be that person's stability for years.
Yeah,
And like you said, Lynn, earlier, maybe up until their death.
I
They
know.
might move somewhere else, like people do
They
move,
might. Yeah, but
but yeah,
they don't have to.
they
Yeah,
don't
they
have
can
to.
stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brandon, Toll Brothers is an extraordinary partner with HomeAid, and not just in Austin, but across the nation with many of our affiliates. And you have colleagues across the country, your fellow division presidents that have gotten involved. Can you share about that broader engagement? And it's not a competition, but clearly it's aspirational, what I see. between your divisions and getting people involved. Can you tell a little bit about that with your colleagues within Toll as you talk about HomeAid?
Yeah, as we've discussed, and everybody knows, I think that's watching this, HomeAid's a truly remarkable organization. It's uniquely connected to the work that we do every day in home building. Our employees have proudly supported HomeAid for years. I don't think I was the first one. Definitely won't be the last. They serve on local boards, spearhead other projects through HomeAid. We've had employees on committees, here in Austin. I know some other employees across the country that are on various committees. It's just such a wonderful way for home building employees to give back in a way that they do best. And from what I hear from most of our employees that have worked alongside HomeAid is that it gives them the opportunity to put their skills to use in a way that they don't typically get to. And it's just really incredibly rewarding to them. Scott, we are a competitive group. Last year
Yeah.
was our first year for to sponsor HomeAid through our gala event. And there was a competition between divisions to raise funds. And I'm proud to say that the Austin division won that contest. And we raised the most money per employee for that gala event and second most in total dollars, only being edged out by our Dallas division. So we did keep it in the Texas family, but super proud that our team competed. You know what? We've got a pretty good chance to repeat this year. So we are competitive also.
And that's exciting because you mentioned the event and it's coming up that first weekend in May in Philadelphia. And one of the exciting things, and that's where your corporate headquarters are at. Many people that are listening, we're talking about Austin, but Toll Brothers is based out of Philadelphia. And one of the motivations for last year's gala was to create a brand new HomeAid entity, a new affiliate in the Philadelphia area. And that's established. HomeAid Delaware Valley is up and running. And we have a director. And not only will your divisions get involved in that general area, but your corporate office will as well. And that's exciting. Our HomeAid affiliate is actually going to be, the staff members initially is going to be housed in your corporate office. And he already has his desk. And so the commitment from Toll and that gala from last year is planting seeds for years to come. And we're excited about the gala coming up. And we all hope that there's a lot of competition between the divisions because it's only going to be benefiting HomeAid, whether or not it's Orlando or Dallas or in Southern California, Colorado, the Puget Sound, Washington area. So that's exciting that commitment is there. And I hope you'll be there at the gala. So
I'm trying to make it. Absolutely.
So Brandon, from a personal perspective, you talked about April Whitaker's call to you. And why is it important, from Taylor Morrison, why is it important for other builders to get involved? Your colleagues, your quote competitors in the Austin area, why is it important for other builders to engage in this kind of work?
I had mentioned it a little bit earlier, and it's a concept that a friend of mine introduced me to this year when it comes to giving back. And it's the concept of time, talent, and treasures. And it revolves around most people having the ability to do one of those things, at least one of those things. And I think when it comes to home builders and employees that work for home builders, it really gives us the best avenue to do all three of them. We talked about Briston and another CM Sean, extremely talented at managing a home building process, and they did it to help out and build the tiny home. Kyle McKnight, one of our purchasing managers, extremely talented in negotiating with trades, finding trades, and utilize those skills to build this. We had salespeople involved, land people that are great at negotiating and selling to get people involved. That's how we utilize the talent part. Time, I think this past year, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, Lynn, I think we had over 190 hours of service time through, various events, employees donating their time. And that kind of satisfies that part of it, right? So we have some employees that are able to give that time to go out. And then the treasure, right? And it doesn't have to be money. And we did raise a lot of it for HomeAid last year, but it's also the diaper drives, the toy drives, the Coach for Kid drives, the sock drives, and it's sharing those treasures. So when it comes to being a home builder, working for a home building company, being a vendor, so much of what we do gives us the ability to kind of fulfill that concept and maximize everything we can do. So I think it's a perfect partnership.
Yeah, it's so special. And Lynn, you get to see it unfold. You get to see all of those three things, the
I
time, the
do.
talent, and the treasure. Changing the word from manage to shepherd. You get to shepherd that in your community. And what a gift that is for you and your team at HomeAid Austin.
Yeah, it's huge. We get to see the results. A lot of the times, the people who are involved don't get to see it. When, Brandon, we bring, your kids' stuff to where it belongs, their new home. We get to see the joy on people's faces. And, a lot of times the people that we work with don't get to do that. And In this world today, we're going through so much processing of information. That's what keeps us going, is that we get to see the faces of the people who are truly like excited to receive the stuff that we get to give them. We get to have that gift and to see the fruits of our labor when we walk around Community First Village and other places where we know people are planting a garden in the house that we helped get them. So it's really an honor, and I love the way HomeAid can give a vehicle for toll brothers or other builders or other people to give their time and talent and treasures. And it's just a perfect fit for everybody to kind of come together in that platform. We're all really grateful for our partnerships and our family. We call them our family here. We don't call them our partners, we call them our family because they really are part of our family.
They are.
So, Lynn, obviously, homeless issues are complex, and in many communities, it's growing. So, as you walk through Community First Village, what gives you hope in this broader, very complex issue related to homelessness?
When I walk through Community First Village, what gives me hope is I can see all the slabs that are poured already. I could see all the villages that are going to come together. And I know that they're going to get built. I know that there's going to be that much more houses available for people to choose from when they're trying to exit, the harsh reality of living on the streets. And so just seeing that sense of community and seeing everybody like going about their day. And I know that those are all going to be built and they're going to house people and give people a home for as long as they need to. That's what I see. I can stand at the forefront of the driveway and just look at the whole spread of everything when I'm pulling in or standing in the parking lot and just see the expanse of it all and how one person decided they needed to do a little more and now this is what it's become. So it just gives me hope that we can do more of that in the area and everyone can do a little bit and that ripple effect will come out and they can build great things like that.
Yeah. And so, Brandon, you talked about how when you started, that was that call from April and that aha kind of moment. But when you look back on that ribbon cutting just a few weeks ago, what do you most remember about that experience of cutting the ribbon on 2 new homes?
It's really, for me, what I remember most is what happened on the way to the ribbon cutting. The ribbon cutting was memorable and building 2 homes. But to get to that event, I much like Lynn said, I had to drive by the home that we built last year and slowed down, looked over, and saw the person that was living there, cleaning up their front porch, and that I get goosebumps thinking about it, seeing them living in that home, knowing that quite possibly a year ago they didn't have a home and they were living on the street. That's what I'll remember about that ribbon cutting is seeing that. And again, I think next year, if we do one, it's probably gonna be the same thing. It's seeing the results of it, seeing the results of it.
Yeah. If you drive by the one you built in the fall, you'll be able to see the person living in that one now because they just moved somebody in there. And so I did that on the way down. I did on the way down. I was like, oh, someone's living in the Toll Brothers home now. Yeah, it's kind of that's one of the best parts.
So, for people that are listening, they might be a builder, they might be a supplier, a trade. What do you both want them to walk away with? How do they get involved?
Oh, just call us. We have a way.
There's no lack of opportunity.
No, because, not only do we build houses out there, we help with volunteer days. We coordinate anything for your company. If you want to come out and volunteer at Community First, we have a means for that too. So, it's not like we build a house and walk away. Like I said, it's part of our family. So I can go by and see people working in the greenhouse and I can go by and see people living in the houses and then we can bring people back to go out and work at the chicken coop or work in the garden or do a beautification project or something. We're there forever, and any way you want to get involved, like I said, we have one of our engineers who really wants to build out there. I'm like, well, how are you going to do that? Let me partner you with Toll Brothers. Let me partner you with someone who you could do that together and figure out a way to do that. So yeah, it's any way possible. Just let us know.
So, Brandon, what about you?
Same thing. Call HomeAid. And if you're in a market where HomeAid isn't, reach out to the closest HomeAid division, I guess, and ask them. The network that you guys have is very substantial. And I'm sure even if you're not in the market, there's a connection somewhere along the way that you can put somebody in touch so they can go out and do something special and good for somebody else.
So, Brandon, I asked Lynn the question about what gives you hope. And so, as we close out, what gives you hope as you look ahead? And these are interesting, challenging times in our world and in our communities. But what gives you hope with what we do?
You know what? What gives me hope is And I'll use Community First Village as an example. We've talked about that. I look around and it took a lot of different people, a lot of different type of companies, a lot of different sort of employees that work for those companies to agree to get involved and to help others. And that gives me hope. It seems like every time one of these opportunities come up, I talked about it in the ribbon cutting, no matter who I ask. If I have to ask our regional president, Rob, can we go do this? The answer is sure, no problem. When I had to, I connected with Corey in our corporate office about funding for these two, and the answer was sure, no problem. Anytime I ask an employee like Briston, it's sure, no problem. And it seems like Lynn gets the same response every time she asks a builder or a trade partner to get involved. It's sure, no problem. And it gives me a lot of hope that we're going to chip away at
Yes.
this epidemic and put people in homes. That gives me a ton of hope.
Mm. Yeah, and that is what gives me hope too with partners like you, because I've seen it day in, day out from when I joined HomeAid, and this could not be a better industry to do exactly what we're doing and providing very tangible hope. And that's what this conversation is reminding us of. It's a partnership, it's vision, it's really looking at who's going to get involved, who's willing to step up, step forward and to build. And it's literal things that they're doing. And those two micro homes that you dedicated and the ones prior, for somebody it may be small, but the impact is immense. And just you've already touched on the lives that are living there right now and that will be living there for years to come. So I just want to thank both of you for the time today. Lynne, you're a tremendous leader in our HomeAid family, but you're a leader in that community. You're changing Austin. And Brandon, your leadership as well. You're changing in your family, you're changing things within Toll, and your partnership is really committed. And so thank you to the whole Toll Brothers team and to Lynne, your board, and HomeAid Austin, and all the trade partners and volunteers that make this possible. Because someone will rebuild their life because of you. And someone has a home that did not have a home maybe for over a decade. And that's what this partnership of what we do is all about. So thank you both again for being part of today's conversation. This has been Unsheltered Conversations. I'm Scott Larson, and thank you for listening.